Hello and welcome to Merlins Brick News, the weekly show on all things brick building, where we talk about set updates and announcements from all the major brands, MOCs of the week, and new LEGO Ideas entries. Let's get started. As always, in alphabetical order, we will start with BlueBrixx. And here we have only one announcement this week: the new Star Trek set brick build art. Actually, it's Picard's Ready Room painting, the 105420. This thing has 3,744 pieces. It is roughly half a meter by 1 meter in size, and yeah, here we go. I mean, I've seen the scene several times. I just have it in front of my inner eye. This piece of art in Picard's Ready Room, and here you go. Now you have a brick build. It has actually a ton of tiles, I guess, and not so many studs are going to be seen. So it's not built of like a million 1x1 studs like what LEGO is doing with, I don't know, the world map or something like that, but rather a combination or a mix of tiles and then a couple of 1x1 studs on top. It has pet printed here two, I guess, 2x6 tiles, I think, for a signature. And yeah, here you go. The Enterprise on a piece of art. It's quite huge, but 3,700 pieces is not small either. Let's move on to a couple of availabilities. So BlueBrixx Monster Truck in dark blue is available. The 105135. You can buy it over here in Europe for 50 euros. And again, as always, that includes over here with tax. In this case, Germany VAT is 19%. So do the math yourself. 4.3 cents a piece, and it's 5 cents per gram. And yeah, here we go. I think this thing is pretty cool, actually. And it looks really nice. I really like the brick build flag. That's a nice touch. Dark blue, of course, never an easy color when it comes to micro scratches, and the Kuhn long pieces that BlueBrixx is using usually have a lot of those. But anyhow, here you go, 1,153 pieces. And then now we have 3 availabilities that I actually missed last week. Very unfortunate. Has been available for quite a while, actually. The Colosseum. So BlueBrixx now also has one, the 105475. This thing has 3,407 pieces. And BlueBrixx is asking over here for 130 euros, 3.8 cents a piece. So as you can see, it's a very different animal than, for instance, the LEGO Colosseum. I mean, of course, size is different, price is entirely different. I mean, you can buy 4 of these bad boys before buying one from LEGO, but the point is, this is a Colosseum how it looked like back in the day, right? It's not what we know today. So you have all the buildings around. You have, of course, here all these poles to have the sun sails to put them on top. And it even has of course, the walls are complete. It's not just half a Colosseum the way it looks today. And you can even switch it. It's like a 3-in-1 function where basically you have the flooded version where you can put some ships in, or of course the regular arena for gladiators to fight, etc., etc. Yeah, it's a completely different thing. Personally, I'm not sure if I like this thing here down below. That's a bit too heavy for my taste. I'm rather a fan of, I don't know, from my point of view, a platform should not be as big. I mean, I guess it's not that much higher than the LEGO Colosseum, but of course the LEGO Colosseum was a lot bigger. By the way, keep in mind, the LEGO Colosseum, of course, has a lot of pieces, but it's also a very huge set with a lot of large pieces used. This thing here is a bit more tiny, right? I mean, even from the entire scale, actually, I don't know the precise size. I think BlueBrixx hasn't given it. Let me just double check the website. No size, unfortunately, but it looks, I mean, if you just look at the pieces, it's a lot 1x1 and 1x2 tiles. Anyhow, let's move on to Pisa, famous city with the famous tower over in Italy, the 105321. This is, I think, from the BlueBrixx architecture series. I'm not sure. I think the Forum Romanum was a bigger. This one here has only 1,150 pieces. BlueBrixx is asking for 50 euros. That's 4.3 cents a piece. Well, I mean, from my point of view, it's a bit too simple. It doesn't have enough detail. I mean, it's the typical, let's say, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, right? I mean, it has the same scale, it has the same building techniques as all the other architecture sets that BlueBrixx has recently released, but I guess it's just the site. There's just so much grass, simple grass, and as a result, especially here, if you look at the picture that I'm currently showing on the left, the ground is a bit too simplistic for my taste, but I mean, it's a small set, right? And if you're interested in these kind of architecture sets, like including ancient architecture, and you don't want to break the bank, then this might be a good start, right? $50 is not that much. Personally, I would prefer the Forum Romanum. However, Pisa, of course, might be a site where you have been on vacation or something like that, and I guess in this case, this is more interesting. Anyhow, let's move on. There's the third one that I, again, like Pisa and like Colosseum, missed last week, and that is the V100 locomotive. That is a locomotive that for sure, drives around in Germany. I don't know if it's in service in other European countries as well. This is an 8-stud locomotive. We are talking about the 105231. It has 40 pieces, and BlueBrixx is asking for 30 euros, 5.5 cents a piece. This is actually a locomotive I've grown up with. Like you could see these things basically in every large train station for transport. So I don't even know if they are still in service today, but I do think they are. Then just a quick FYI, we had a couple of availabilities. Blaustein Castle, obviously the most famous, most craved for set that BlueBrixx has ever made, the 102818. It's an old one, but usually, and we had the situation yesterday over here in BlueBrixx at the BlueBrixx store, like usually it means it's available for like half an hour or an hour. Yesterday, I think it was available for 70 minutes and then was sold out immediately again. And usually takes half a year until they get it back in stock. However, sometimes they get like a split shipment. And so, I don't know, a lot of people are really looking today on the BlueBrixx website, checking out if this thing gets available again. Sometimes it has happened in the past. If this does not work, there's a good chance that we have to wait until summer. The same is true for the first extension. So these two extensions are the problem. So if you look into, let's just look here at nights. So the situation right now is that you have, and by the way, this is not updated yet. This is not available anymore. But anyhow, usually the 3 big extensions, so the 5,000 pieces extensions, the Werewalk, the whole extension, Order Bailey, they are available for actually months now. But those two, these are the problems, the core castle and the keep extension. So that is where we have the situation. But anyhow, it was available yesterday. I think the keep extension for maybe a couple of hours, and the basic castle for an hour. So yeah, quite unfortunate, the situation. Let's hope. Anyhow, then we have a couple of availabilities over here in Europe by Jaki. Again, BlueBrixx is the store in this case. I mean, I keep repeating that. BlueBrixx over here. I mean, they basically are in every business model. I mean, they sell parts, they sell sets, they make their own sets, etc., etc. I guess they are in the alternative brand area, I guess the biggest player over here in Europe, with being a jack of all trades and being in all these different businesses. But anyhow, so they are selling Jaki. I haven't seen these sets in China and with my Chinese partners. But anyhow, BlueBrixx has them now in stock. We have the music box, A Moment of Romance. Today is Valentine's Day, right? Awesome. So that's a good fit. So for all of you located in Europe, this might be a good message, but maybe it is a bit too late to buy a present. Anyhow, we're talking about the 1311, 581 pieces. BlueBrixx is asking for $30. And there's another set that I'm pretty sure has a much larger audience. And this are these nice 2 trucks that they are doing. We have first the thing that is just called truck, the 9061 from Jaki. It has 171 pieces. So it's a small one, right? This is for your city. It's like 6 studs in width, but it's quite detailed. It looks nice. I think these are prints. I mean, at least on the picture, they don't look like stickers. But anyhow, I don't want to make any promises. BlueBrixx is asking for $10. That's 5.8 cents a piece. And then you have the American truck. It's the 9062, has 183 pieces, again, $10, 5.4 cents a piece. And then they have 2 storage boxes, look like dinosaurs. All of these sets, by the way, are great presents for kids, if you ask me. But anyhow, this storage box here, which actually, I think it kind of looks amazing. If these curved slopes are actually pet printed, that would be amazing. Again, the 5112 from Jaki, it has 242 pieces, $10, 4.1 cents a piece. And then we have a green one, which actually is even cooler. Just love the color, the 5102, 242 pieces, $10 again. So I really like these things. I mean, they look funny, and you can store your stuff in there. I mean, I guess a lot of kids will really like these. But anyhow, what a lot of grown-up kids are going to like is the Lord of the Rings Rivendell. The 10316 by LEGO. So many folks have been waiting for this. I mean, this thing has been accompanied by a million leaks. I know that recognized fan media have already were shown these things, this thing, already months ago. So LEGO has been working on this for quite a while, has fired up the marketing machinery. But anyhow, this thing has 6,167 pieces, and hopefully it's the beginning of a new era of Lord of the Rings sets by LEGO. Obviously, we don't know, but of course, a lot of folks are hoping now that there's, also play sets coming back in stock, etc., etc. It's just so amazing. I mean, this thing, of course, relates to the first movie. It's the Counts of Elrond. I mean, first movie / first book. Obviously, LEGO is always highly influenced by Peter Jackson's movies, but technically, of course, they have, I don't even know what exactly the license by LEGO is, but usually they relate to the designs by the movies. But anyhow, you have also the Smithy in there, where the sword is remade, so technically it's not just the first book, right? But of course, the Council of Elrond is the centerpiece. This thing is going to be 75 by 50 centimeters and 39 in height. I mean, that is a lot, but it is a $500 set, and it has more than 6,000 pieces. And I mean, I just told other folks, like, when I saw this the first time, you really think, okay, this is how far LEGO has come, right? Because, I mean, if you look in the old days, like my castle I grew up with had like 700 pieces. So it's almost like 8 or 9 castles here. And of course, that they would consume a lot more space, right? Because the sets nowadays are much more detailed, a lot of small pieces. And I think this set shows this really well, right? I mean, what could you have done in the old days with the much more simple building techniques with 6,000 pieces? And nowadays you have this. But don't get me wrong, this is not criticizing. This thing looks amazing. It's a beautiful design. I think they really got the Elvish design nailed in. The roof is just amazing. I imagine it's going to be a pain to build this roof. However, I'm personally really curious if LEGO is giving any support on this roof. Like, is there any special tool in the kit to build this roof, which could be amazing, because I think it's an amazing roof design. For me, it's so typical LEGO. It looks brilliant, but it's very simple, right? I think that distinguishes always an original LEGO design from all these MOCs out there. I mean, there are so amazing MOCs, but usually what MOC builders do, when they want to have a certain look, they get complicated, right? Whatever needs to get done to get the look that I want, usually I will do. That is the motto. And however, LEGO designers obviously can't do this. They, want to have their sets inclusive and easy to build. So this is a very simple technique, right? It's just plates with 1x1 tiles. That's it. There's nothing complicated. But still, it looks really detailed. It looks beautiful. It looks elvish. It's just great, right? So I think I can imagine that a lot of folks building larger MOCs after this set will just use this building technique. And, you could relatively easy build an entire elvish city. So yeah, but if they would put in a tool, right, to arrange them all, that would be amazing, and make this job even easier. Let's see. However, I mean, it can be done even manually. No problem there, right? You just use a big plate and then you align them. But even that could be interesting. Is LEGO giving you any support in the manual, how to align these? Well, anyhow, there are 50 minifigures in there. Obviously, there's the Counts of Elrond, a couple of other scenes, and the minifigures. Let's maybe jump to them very quickly. Here we go. I mean, there's a lot of good things to say about it, right? You have dual mold leg pieces for the hobbits. The dwarves are using the mid-size legs. Then you have all of the minifigures are printed in a lot of detail. I mean, look at Legolas here. It's just amazing what kind of prints they have done. Boromir looks pretty and beautiful as well. The shield is just amazing. I mean, the minifigures are really cool. I mean, obviously LEGO had to deliver here, right? The minifigures are one of the big reasons why people are so in love with the Lord of the Rings sets by LEGO. And they have really delivered. Yes, there are, for instance, if you look at the legs of the elf that I'm currently showing here on the left, they are pretty standard. But and also the dwarf, like Gimli's father on the right, I guess that's him, right? But anyhow, but everybody else is just highly detailed, and I'm really in love with all of these minifigures. They're all great, without exception. Gandalf is amazing. I think that's a new print on Gandalf. I mean, this is for sure not the first Gandalf we have seen, and it's like pretty much like the old ones, but I think the prints are also new. By the way, they are also for the Council of Elrond, so you can sit all of these figures done that are wearing a robe or a skirt or anything like that. They have also printed, I guess it's what, 2x2 curved slopes, I think. I'm not 100% sure if I have a picture somewhere here. So you can put them in the council, which is really amazing. Let me just, can we see this somewhere? I don't know. I guess there was a picture if I recall correctly. Come on, show me the council. No, I can't find it right now. What is also interesting is that this thing is to a certain degree modular. So you can, arrange it depending on what your situation is. You can, for instance, remove even the Council of Elrond, including the tree. By the way, amazing tree designs. I'm not really sure what this tree is, like a cypress a bit, like, right? But I think there are a couple of interesting building techniques for trees in there. Yeah, really like it. It's a beautiful design. It's going to be amazing, and I will definitely build this one. All right, then we have one more. I mean, it's not a real set. It's a gift with purchase. Actually, I haven't actually checked if that is also, I guess it's also gift with purchase in the LEGO US store, but at least over here in Europe, LEGO has currently an operation going, I think, where you get this gift with purchase. It's a moving truck, the 40586. It has 300 pieces. And yeah, it's a nice and well done truck. Obviously, the storage and transfer sign here on the side is a sticker. Yeah, not a big fan of stickers, and also on the door. But I mean, gift with purchase, usually they don't make custom prints for this one. But I guess at least the piano has the printed, pad printed tiles. And I'm not so sure around the jukebox here. I guess it's a sticker, but yeah, here you go. You have movers, 2 minifigures, and the car design itself is solid. I mean, it looks beautiful. And I guess it's a good company for the Jazz Club, for instance. So this thing will look nice in every brick city. With that, we are coming to MOCs of the week, because we didn't have that many set news. I mean, obviously we had very exciting news with Rivendell, and at least over here in Europe also with Blaustein Castle, but not that many. So we have a couple more MOCs this week. So took the opportunity because there are so amazing designs out there. Anyhow, let's get started with Albo Lego, who has released Commander Cody Phase 2 Mega Figure. So I must say, I'm not a fan of the Harry Potter Mega Figures. I think they are very ugly, quite ugly. No, they are extremely ugly. I mean, they are just, ugh. But anyhow, Albo Lego is doing a really great job here. He has already done Captain Rex. He is collaborating here with Brett, also a designer here on Rebrickable that I have in very high regards. And he's very famous for his helmets and also for the Star Wars dioramas. Actually, I have 5 or 6 of his Star Wars dioramas here standing behind me. But he's also, of course, very famous for his helmets. And he has done the Commander Cody in Phase 2. Obviously, LEGO is now also shipping a helmet, but I would, even with the new LEGO helmets, I would definitely recommend taking a look at Brett's designs. But now we're talking about Albo Lego, and Albo Lego has done mega figures where you can put Brett's helmet on top, and I'm pretty sure you can also, or will be able to put LEGO's helmet on top as well. And it is really an amazing design. It is very detailed. Yeah, it has a lot of details. I think that is the big difference between these designs and what LEGO has been doing, because LEGO's designs are just far too simple from my point of view. And this one here is highly detailed. Actually, now you have him here close to Captain Rex with his officer's skirt. I guess is it called a skirt? I'm not sure. And the shoulder plates and everything. And I mean, don't they look cool? And yeah, I mean, you could even say, okay, now let's build these two. I mean, obviously, both of them together are 4,000 pieces, plus you have to buy or build Brett's helmets. But then you could even say, hey, I'm later switching them, you know, with the Lego helmets. If I'm, or you, the other way around, you start with the Lego helmet, and then after that, you say, okay, I want a slightly cooler design. Now I'm moving to Brett's helmets. But anyhow, I think they just look so cool. I mean, look at this and these perspectives. It's really cool. Anyhow, let's move on to also a beautiful design that is actually free of charge by Bricking from Home, has created like an homage with 650 pieces on the original 1994 6571 fire station. And this is something I also really like because I think a lot of folks would agree with me that Lego city designs of recent years become too simple in many ways, too small, too lightweight, if you will. I don't know how to describe it any better. There's just not enough good pieces in there. There's sometimes a lot of large pieces like panels and stuff, but there are just bricks missing. It is not, I think, a good path Lego is on with the city sets. If you ask me, especially with the larger sets, I think, you know, vehicles are just fine, always fine. But the buildings especially, they get simpler and simpler because I guess the Lego designers have to reduce the piece count or reduce simply the investment. Right? They are blocked by budget. And so I think, however, what Bricking from Home has done here is taking an old Lego city design and bring it into the new era, which is just amazing, right? It has a lot of pieces. All the floor is entirely tiled, for instance, and stuff like that. But it's still a Lego city design in many ways, right? It's not a mock that is entirely over the top. It still has only 650 pieces. But nevertheless, it is a beautiful fire station. You can also see here a picture, I guess, from his or her city. And it's just a beautiful design. This is exactly how city should look like, if you ask me, in this day and age. But anyhow, here you go, free of charge instruction by Bricking from Home. And then we have something new by Sir Percival, also a fellow designer over here from Germany, has also his own YouTube channel. I've talked about his designs before. I mean, he's very famous for this gigantic castle with 112,000 pieces that actually has been on venues over here in Europe. I think currently I think he has a whole plan laid out. I mean, there's a lot of reservation, a lot of folks want to have his castle. So he has built this thing. He entirely documented this on YouTube, and however, now it seems he wants to open up a new door and create something small, something tiny almost, architecture sets in the Roman era. And I think this is a really beautiful design. Again, the stand is, for my personal taste, a bit too heavy. However, as you can see, it's 2 layers of bricks. So you could simply, if you feel like me, you could simply remove a layer. And below that, you have 2 layers of plates. I guess it should also be relatively easy to reduce this to 1 layer again. So there are options to make this thing a bit smaller, because right now I think it's a bit over dominant compared to the building. But the building itself is beautifully done, nice building techniques, using ingots, using plates. Obviously, the windows are paneled, I think, with stickers, I guess. So that's not perfect, but the entire building looks really, really nice. So definitely check this out. And then we have from MOCs, one of my most beloved designers when it comes to alternate builds for Lego Modulars. And he has done a new alternate build of the police station. It's called the call center. He's asking for $10. And yeah, it's also highly detailed, typical PL/MOC style. I keep repeating, alternate builds for Lego Modulars are one of the great boons of buying also Lego compared to other vendors, because basically a Lego modular, like especially if you have like City Center or any of these more famous modulars, they have like an unlimited lifespan, because you can basically every 6 months buy an alternate build. I mean, if you just go at, for instance, here the police station, and then look at alternate builds, and there are many. I mean, over here it's 11 alternate builds, and many of them look really beautiful. So if you say, okay, every half a year I'm going to switch, then you have a building fun for a couple of years, which is just great. And MOCs is doing an amazing job here, has already created multiple alternates of this building. Anyhow, let's move on. Tatooine Desert House from the Reno 90. $10 for, yeah, I think this is a design, I assume, from The Mandalorian, looking at these Stormtrooper helmets. But obviously, you know, if you want to build Mos Eisley or something like that, I'm pretty sure this could be a good blueprint for you as well to get started. I really like the wall design. I guess it's just a display to look at from the outside because there are no pictures from the inside. But it's a really nice design, a very detailed, interesting wall design also. So I think checking out this instruction for $10 could even be a good idea, even if you don't want to build this specific building, but just to get an idea on the building techniques and how it's done. So yeah, really cool. There's a speeder there. I guess this is Mando's speeder. Or no, I think this is the speeders the Stormtroopers have been on when they catch Grogu, right? At the end of first season. Anyhow, third season is around the corner, right? Well, looks great. Big fan. And then let's move on. So Balon, the medieval windmill. So this is a special one. This picture may look familiar to those of you who are interested in alternative brick vendors, because this is a design he has already provided to MOC for quite a while. So Balon has an entire series of medieval MOCs. Mostly there's also the city church, but the rest is medieval MOCs, all in a style, let's say, comparable to the current LEGO medieval design language, especially, of course, 21325, right? The medieval Smith idea set. And I think a lot of folks love them, really. I mean, they have like 1 million likes over here on Rebrickable. And he has licensed a lot of these designs to MOC. So the medieval tavern you can get from MOC, the medieval farm you can get. Then there is another set that is the guard tower in combination with the stable. It's like a one set from MOC. And then you have the windmill. And for whatever reason, all the other designs he already released 2021, and now the medieval comes a bit later. I'm not sure why, but doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's a great design. I've built the MOC sets, but of course MOC is Thing-Bow pieces, not the highest quality out there. So if you want to build this, I don't know, in LEGOBrixx or GoBrixx, then here you go. Now you can buy the instruction. However, it's $18, so that's not a small amount for sure. Let's move on to custom modular by Hannibal Yost, I think. Modular, the Bridge Boutique, and an additional floor. $15 for 3,618 pieces instruction. Obviously, that is quite large, but I had to talk about it because it looks beautiful. It's an amazing design. It's very detailed on the inside. I mean, look at this. I also find it really funny that I think it was LEGO with the Fab 5 set who started this, right? To have the torso and remove the hands and use this as an impression of something like a wardrobe. And now you see this in a lot of MOCs. You see this even with alternate brick vendors with designs, right? You see more and more what LEGO has done. Like, okay, LEGO did it. They removed the hands and, you know, it's awful, but looks cool. Anyhow, amazing design. Obviously, the question is, you know, with so many amazing modulars out there, with all these amazing alternate bits out there, you know, do you want to spend that much money and effort to build your own modular? But I think this design for sure is worth it. Anyhow, let's move on to Legate of Legion. I've talked a lot about, you know, his or her, actually I'm not sure, designs around medieval and pirates, and they are beautiful. And now it's, I guess, you know, with Rivendell, I assume we will see a lot more Lord of the Rings MOCs coming out, and Legate of Legion is now looking into this topic as well. Getting started with 2 Rohan sets from Middle-earth. This one here is a Rohan Warriors House. It looks amazing. 1,421 pieces, asking for the instruction for $1,290 US. And obviously the minifigures are not included. The minifigures, I guess, are the biggest problem because they are expensive. I mean, if you want to have a Rohan, so if you want to have this shield, the helmet is not as bad as you may think, but I guess getting the shield. But that's, of course, what we are all hoping for, right? That, you know, LEGO will now also starting shipping playsets with 1 million minifigures. Minifigure collector series, right? This is the kind of stuff we want to see. But anyhow, if you know, get started with Rivendell, or you can't wait for Rivendell and you want to get started with Lord of the Rings, or you want to extend Rivendell, like, okay, have a couple of sets for every location, of the Fellowship of the Rings, then of course Rohan might be interesting. I mean, it's not like the meat hall, but it's Rohan and it looks cool. Actually, he has done also a second design, the Rohan Watchtower. A bit smaller, 987 pieces. Looks great as well, but again, you will need pieces from Lego that are very hard to come by, very expensive. But if you already have a Lord of the Rings minifigure collection, this might be interesting to you. 1090, he's asking for the more interesting stuff, however, is if you look at LEGO of Legion's account, usually when looking into a topic like medieval or pirate harbor, usually, you know, there's a lot of such sets coming out. So I'm really looking forward. Let's hope that more Lord of the Rings stuff is following. And then let's move on to, I guess, my personal highlight for this week. As always, Chris Romans, you know, famous for his micro build or mini builds, now has created a mini build of the Lion Knight's castle. It's an absolute beauty. It has 1,102 pieces, which is amazing. I mean, if you look at this, right, it doesn't look big, but it's actually not that small either. But I think it's perfect size. It's a brilliant design. It catches the castle in a great way. To be honest, I would, you know, take this one instead of the original castle anytime, because it's actually even more detailed. It's just so much more interesting to look at, right? I mean, obviously you don't have minifigures, but I guess you could even put nano figures in this. It just looks amazing. And if you look at Chris Roman's account, I will not link all of them down below, but I will link, of course, all the MOCs I'm talking about down below or in the podcast show notes for you listeners as well. But just click on the link for the Lion Knight's castle, and then you can, you know, look at his account. And there are a couple of other designs, including this 375. So, I mean, the 375 is not really my cup of tea, to be honest. I'm actually not that much into old Lego sets. And he's missing a black castle, so we definitely need a black one. I mean, we have here this one, the 68 one. But I'm definitely going, he has to do one of the black ones, but because that's obviously what I had in my childhood. Anyhow, long story short, Lion Knight's castle, beautiful. And then we have the farmhouse, but for BlueBrixx fan Y, I guess this is how I intend to pronounce it. By the way, one of the most interesting Instagram accounts to follow, if you ask me, if you're into medieval and Lego and stuff, or castle. Long story short, here is a free of charge design of a farmhouse. And I mean, it's great. I mean, it makes already sense to talk about it because it's free of charge and it is a great design, if you ask me. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's so much to learn from it, like building techniques. It has a rather simple design, but I guess it fits very well with the other Lego sets, with the Lion Knight's castle, for instance, right? You want to build your own village. So this design language could be a starting point, right? To build your own medieval village around the Lion Knight's castle. I think this could be really interesting. I think the design fits very well. It has the design language, it has the simplicity, but also the warmth to a certain degree that, you know, Lego's designs are famous for. So it's a very good fit. So I do recommend taking a look at this mock, but also taking a look at BlueBrixx fan Y's Instagram account. Then let's move on to the last mock of the day, Ravenclaw Tower. I guess this has to do with copyright on Ravenclaw Tower. Anyhow, Fancy Bricks, I think famous, unrebreakable for a great approach, an amazing approach actually on Harry Potter sets. So from my point of view, if you look at this design, this is how Harry Potter from Lego should be, if you ask me. I mean, obviously it's not to scale. It is minifigure scale. It is shrink down to a certain degree. I mean, to scale to the original from the books or the movie, or the movies. But I think it's much more reasonable, right? I mean, I think that is a big issue of the Lego Harry Potter series in my book, that these things are just too small, too simple, too shallow. Right, that is the overall problem. I mean, if you look at Hogwarts, I mean, if you buy all of the sets, you pay a lot of money, but at the end of the day, it's still like a tiny toy. And I think this thing here is much more reasonable, right? It has a lot. I mean, again, it is, you know, it is almost like a playset, but it has a lot more detail. It's a lot bigger than the LEGO ones. It is a lot more reasonable. That's what I think. And if you look at his account, there's a ton of stuff here. You know, there are the dorm rooms and everything. So I definitely recommend to check him out. There's also an Instagram account, BlueBrixx. So I recommend taking a look at that. And with that, we are done with MOCs of the week. So let's move on to LEGO Ideas. And here we are not going to talk about ideas entries this week. I've decided to focus on just one thing because we talked about so many MOCs. And this is, of course, the second round 2022 is done. And ta-da-da-da, the two winners are, or the two sets we are going to get is from John Crab, aka Brick 1980, the Red London telephone box. Really looking forward to this one. I think this is something where LEGO could really shine. I think this is kind of in the wheelhouse, if you will, and I think they will do a great job here. I'm really curious how many pieces they will use. Like, is this more like going in the direction of like 800-900 pieces, or is this more like going in the direction of 1,500, something like that? Because, you know, with this design, you can do a lot of different scale and sizes, but I guess they will stick to this one here. And in this case, I'm not really sure how many pieces John used, but I guess it's beyond 1,000. Anyhow, the ideas entry was already great. Really looking forward to what LEGO is doing with that. And this one here could be really interesting as well. The Nightmare Before Christmas by Simon Scott. So Truth's My Life, I guess is the account called. And I already also like really the LEGO ideas entry. I must say that the Nightmare Before Christmas is not really my cup of tea, but I think there's a lot of amazing stuff that you can do here. However, I would also not be surprised if LEGO would greatly shrink this one down, especially considering that there are a couple of building techniques in here that are a bit dangerous, I think, a bit lofty. So let's see what the LEGO team is doing from it. Here, my biggest fear would be that LEGO is shrinking it down too much, but let's see what they will do with this design. But in general, I would not be surprised. That would be my prediction, that this one here, the actual LEGO set, will look very different, a lot smaller, a lot simpler, a lot more robust. While here with the London telephone box, I would not be surprised if we would see a LEGO set that is very similar to the original ideas entry. Anyhow, I hope you liked the show. For those of you who watch this on YouTube, please leave a like or comment, or even better, subscribe to the channel. For you podcast listeners, please leave a review, comment, or like on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to the show. Thanks for listening. See you next week.